查理和他的爷爷，还有其他的孩子，正在看这些惊人的植物的时候，有个女孩在河对面看到了几个小人，这些小人叫 Oompa Loompa。但是当大家都在看小人的时候，刚才 Augustus Gloop 那个贪吃的小孩偷偷地走到了河边，并且开始喝巧克力了。Augustus! shouted Mr. Gloop. Augustus, sweetheart, I don't think you had better do that. Augustus Gloop, as you might have guessed, had quietly sneaked down to the river, and now he was kneeling on the riverbank, scooping hot, melted chocolate into his mouth as fast as he could. When Mr. Wonka turned round and saw what Augustus Gloop was doing, he cried out, "Oh, no! Please, Augustus, please! I beg you not to do that. My chocolate must not be touched by human hands." "Augustus!" called out Mrs. Gloop. "Didn't you hear what the man said? Come away from that river at once."
"This stuff is terrific,"
said Augustus, taking not the slightest notice of her mother and or Mr. Wonka.
"Oh boy, I need a bucket to drink it properly."
"Augustus!" cried Mr. Wonka, hopping up and down and waggling his stick in the air. "You must come away! You are dirtying my chocolate!" "Augustus!" cried Mr. Gloop. "Augustus!" cried Mrs. Gloop. But Augustus was deaf to everything except the call of his enormous stomach. He was now lying full length on the ground, with his head far out over the river, lapping up the chocolate like a dog. "Augustus!" shouted Mrs. Gloop. "You'll be giving that nasty cold of yours to about 1,000,000 people all over the country." "Be careful, Augustus!" shouted Mr. Gloop. "You're leaning too far out." Mr. Gloop was absolutely right. For suddenly there was a shriek and then a splash, and then into the river went Augustus Gloop, and in 1 second he had disappeared under the brown surface. "Save him!" screamed Mrs. Gloop, going white in the face, and waving her umbrella about. "He'll drown! He can't swim a yard! Save him! Save him!" "Good heavens, woman!" said Mr. Gloop. "I'm not diving in there. I've got my best suit on." Augustus Gloop's face came up again to the surface, painted brown with chocolate.
"Help! Help! Help!"
he yelled. "Fish me out!" "Don't just stand there!" Mrs. Gloop screamed at Mr. Gloop. "Do something!" "I am doing something," said Mr. Gloop, was now taking off his jacket and getting ready to dive into the chocolate. But while he was doing this, the wretched boy was being sucked closer and closer towards the mouth of one of the great pipes that was dangling down into the river. Then all at once, the powerful suction took hold of him completely, and he was pulled under the surface and then into the mouth of the pipe. The crowd on the riverbank waited breathlessly to see where he would come out. "There he goes!" somebody shouted, pointing upwards. And sure enough, because the pipe was made of glass, Augustus Gloop could clearly be seen shooting up inside it, headfirst like a torpedo. "Help! Murder! Police!" screamed Mrs. Gloop. "Augustus, come back at once! Where are you going?" Augustus Gloop 和他们的家长走了以后 Mr. Wonka 说 "Off we go!" cried Mr. Wonka. "Hurry up, everybody! Follow me to the next room. And please don't worry about Augustus Gloop. He's bound to come out in the wash. They always do. We shall have to make the next part of the journey by boat. Here she comes! Look!" A steamy mist was rising up now from the great warm chocolate river. And out of the mist there appeared suddenly a most fantastic pink boat. It was a large open rowboat, with a tall front and a tall back, like a Viking boat of old, and it was of a shining, sparkling, glistening pink color that the whole thing looked as though it was made of bright pink glass. There were many oars on either side of it. As the boat came closer, the watchers on the river bank could see that the oars was being pulled by masses of Oompa Loompas, at least 10 of them to each oar. "This is my private yacht," cried Mr. Wonka, beaming with pleasure. "I made her by hollowing out an enormous boiled sweet. Isn't she beautiful? How she comes out cuddling through the river." The gleaming pink boiled sweet boat glided up to the river bank. 100 Oompa Loompas rested on their oars and stared up at the visitors. Then, suddenly, for some reason best known to themselves, they all burst into shrieks of laughter. "What's so funny?" asked Violet Beauregard. "Oh, don't worry about them," cried Mr. Wonka. "They're always laughing. They think everyone's a colossal joke. Jump into the boat, all of you. Come on, hurry up."